Now, this might seem like a wild question when you hear it, but if you give it some thought, you'd see that it's a pretty valid question. Is Martin Odegaard the best captain Arsenal have ever had? Surely, in recent times, the Norwegian stands out. Listen to the names of the last 5 captains that led Arsenal before Odegaard, and tell us you don't think he's the best of the recent lot. Alexander Lacazette, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Granit Xhaka, Laurent Koscielny, and Per Mertesacker. Surely, if we say that Odegaard is the best of this bunch, there'll be little to no argument. But the thing is, Arsenal has had a long list of really great captains who have led the club at one point or another, and that's what makes this question a little controversial. In the Premier League era, Arsenal have had the likes of Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry, Cesc Fabregas, Robin van Persie, and Mikel Arteta, who have captained the great North London club at one point or another. This is a very elite list of great footballers and good leaders. But, despite his age, we still maintain that Martin Odegaard has a good enough argument against these guys. Come with us and we'll tell you why we think so. First of all, Odegaard is a good leader, and he proved that even before he was given the Arsenal armband. He joined the Gunners in January of 2021, and just 2 months later, he was named captain of the Norway national team at the age of 23. You know what it means to be named captain of a national team in your early 20s. Odegaard did so well leading his national team that, when Aubameyang and Lacazette left Arsenal in 2022, Arteta had no fear naming the Norwegian midfielder as new club captain ahead of the 2022-23 season. And he wasn't the obvious choice. In fact, far from it. Players like Thomas Partey, Gabriel, Tierney, and even Ben White all joined the club before Odegaard and are all older too. But Arteta went with a young Norwegian, and he hasn't regretted it one bit since then. But of course, Odegaard is not the youngest person to have captained Arsenal. He's actually third, behind only Tony Adams and Cesc Fabregas. He's in good company. But the difference is that these other guys were at Arsenal since they were teenagers, so it wasn't so crazy when they were named captain at 21. Odegaard, on the other hand, was named captain just a year and a half after he joined the club. 1 year after he joined permanently. Now, that's some crazy levels, but are you really surprised that Arteta made this choice? The boss himself was named Arsenal vice-captain just a year after he joined the club, and then named captain 2 years later. But the difference is that Arteta was 32, and he had close to a decade of experience in the Premier League when he was named captain of Arsenal, so it was not so crazy. Odegaard, on the other hand, was only 23, and had only been in the Premier League for a year and a half when he was named captain. Let that sink in. Of course, that doesn't automatically make him the greatest captain ever, but it's definitely something to consider. Let's now begin to compare Odegaard with the other captains. Of course, Xhaka is great now, but considering that drama that erupted in that London derby against Crystal Palace, which led to him being stripped of captaincy, he surely won't be getting nominated for Captain of the Decade or even Captain of the Year. William Gallas is another guy whose story is pretty similar to Xhaka. The fans were shocked when the Frenchman was handed the armband in 2007, and he didn't do much to win them over. We all remember that infamous game against Birmingham, don't we? Or when he publicly criticised his own teammates. Arsene Wenger eventually had to strip him of captaincy in 2008, and that was when the young Cesc Fabregas took over. And since we're already talking about players who were stripped of captaincy, let's also mention Aubameyang. It's safe to say that Odegaard is already unarguably greater than every captain who was stripped of the armband. Lacazette doesn't even come close to Odegaard either, because he was nothing more than a placeholder. He was named captain after Aubameyang left for Barcelona mid-season, so he wore the armband for just 5 months before leaving the club. Robin van Persie was captain for just 1 season, and then he went on to join rivals Manchester United, so the Gunners don't really rate him so much anymore. Now, guys like Koscielny, Vermaelen and Mertesacker were alright captains, but Mertesacker and Vermaelen hardly got on the pitch during their 2 seasons each as captain due to injuries, while Koscielny's 1 season as captain was simply not great. This now leaves us with the main guys. The guys you could say really give Odegaard a run for his money for the tag of best Arsenal captain ever. Cesc Fabregas, Mikel Arteta, Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry and Tony Adams. If we were asked, we'd say these guys are the top 6 greatest Arsenal captains in the Premier League era in no particular order. Now, the question is Martin Odegaard greater than these other 5? There are good arguments for each of those 5 guys to be seated above Odegaard, to be very honest. But you know what's crazy? At the end of the season, Odegaard could very well be the GOAT. The way he's leading this new crop of players is just incredible, and it looks like he's about to lead the team to do the unthinkable this season. He is really on course to lift the Premier League trophy as captain just 2.5 years after joining the club. That's absolutely insane. And he's not just a figurehead, he actually leads by example. Martin Odegaard is undoubtedly one of Arsenal's best players this season. He's not just the only Arsenal player to have won a Premier League Player of the Month award this season, he is also the only player from a London club to have achieved that feat so far this season. That's how good he has been. Also, if he leads Arsenal to Premier League success this season as captain, he will have done what the likes of Fabregas, Arteta and Henry were not able to. Of course, that won't immediately make the Norwegian a bigger club legend than these guys, but you'd think it possibly makes him a better captain. Arteta was great for the 2 years he was captain, but he never won the league. He won the FA Cup though, but at that period, everyone knew that the Premier League was a trophy Arsenal really wanted. And we know that Gunners will forever love Henry, but the truth is that, while he is arguably Arsenal's greatest player ever, his spell as Arsenal captain actually wasn't so great. He had the armband for 2 seasons before joining Barcelona, and won nothing during that period. No trophy at all. Yes, he led the team to their first ever Champions League final, but that surely cannot be regarded as a bigger achievement than the Premier League. And that's a very similar story with Fabregas. He was captain for Arsenal for 3 years before joining Barcelona, and during that period, he won nothing. Also, he eventually joined Arsenal's fierce rivals Chelsea, so we don't think many Gunners would hesitate to put Odegaard ahead of him in the greatest captains debate. Now, Vieira was the one who captained that record-breaking Invincibles team in 2004, so it's always going to be very hard to argue against him being the GOAT of Arsenal captains. But Odegaard seems like he's leading a team that will win the Premier League with more points and better performances than the Invincibles. Also, it seems like a greater responsibility to lead a newly refurbished team to Premier League glory than to lead an already high-flying team to achieve the same feat, and that's why you have to consider that Odegaard could realistically be a better captain. We know it's very arguable though. But if you think that's arguable, what then would you say about Tony Adams? This man was captain of the club for 14 years and won 11 trophies as captain, including 4 Premier League or First Division titles. We're stuck now, so we'll hand it over to you guys. Is Martin Odegaard the best captain Arsenal have ever had, or could he be if Arsenal win the Premier League this season? Let us know what you think in the comment section, and also tell us why you think so. While you're there, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll see you in the next video as usual.